Hello and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we're going to talk about another data type, which is string. Remember, we have, what is it? Let me see, hold on. Oh, there you go. So we have three basic type of data, and we already talked about numbers. Now we're going to talk about strings. So let's start with that one. So what is a string? A string basically is a whole bunch of characters, including numbers, space, any character that you see on your keyboard. Basically, it's a string. And how do we create a string? Well, we add a string between quotes, and this is how we declare in JavaScript, which is bar my string is equal to, then we put double quote, and then we just say hello, this one, okay? Um, you can also have single quote, is okay. Say we call this my string B, just like this, single quote, and then we just call just hello. So if I just call my string, which is hello, or my string B, which is hello. Okay, so that is also, there's no problem by just changing the value, and not only the value but the type of the variable. For example, if I come here and I say bar, well, my variable, and I add this as 5, and then I call this, right, and then it's a 5, but then later I decide that I want this to be a string with the value ABC. And now if I call this variable, which is called my variable, I will get back ABC and not 5, just because I changed the value here in this line. So doesn't matter in this programming language, but in another programming language is when you define a variable. I'm not gonna get you like more confused with this thing, but when you define the variable in another programming language, definitely you cannot do that. Okay, but on this one, yes, it's possible to do that. So another good thing is that, let me just delete this, that you can join to a string. For example, if I have a variable that is called fname, and then I say Arial, and then I have another variable that is last name, and I say Maduro, and I can take those two variables and just say a plus, fname plus lname is equal to Arial Maduro. However, as you can see, I don't have the space here because you need to add the space on one of these variable right here. Okay, so if I come here and say, well, let's make this just Arial and make a space. So now it's like this, and now I can say, hey, fname plus lname is equal to Arial Maduro, and now I have like the space between the first name and last name. Yes, definitely you need to add that little space there. It could be also add here on this part, like before the M, and it will count as well. So why would you like to do something like this? Well, remember, if you are getting data from the database, and by the way, this is only one example, but if you are getting any data from JSON or database or whatever, you get only one thing, right? Because you don't know how whatever you retrieve will look like. So you need to manipulate the data, okay? And this is all, this is what programming language is about, where you can do whatever you want with the data. For example, if someone And when I say someone, I'm talking about like a database, I'm talking about a JSON, I'm talking about something that is stored somewhere. You're trying to get a data from there. You might have like a, you know, um, wait, hold on. I'm just trying to be like A, B, and C. But let's say that you what you really want to is like A, B, C, or you might want to say AC, or you might want to have BC, or of course you can also have CB or CA as well. Okay, so if you want to get manipulate the data, this is how you do things. So you get ABC, and let me just do that. Variable A is equal to A, variable B is equal to B, and of course variable not variable I'm sorry, bar C is equal to C. Okay, so you have this information stored somewhere, and you need to manipulate and add anything you want. So you start doing, well, I want to add A plus C, and then I'm gonna get AC. You see that? However, you probably don't want this here. You probably want some space or something like that. So what about if you create like another variable, and then you just say space, and then you just add that like this. And then who knows, you probably can do just something like A plus space plus C. And there you go. Now you have the A on, space and C. So this is the beauty of programming language. Like you can do like anything you want, no matter how the data is stored or where the data is. You just need to grab it, and at the end you can do whatever you want with it. And of course, um, the data, it will never be perfect, by the way. So for example, you can have inside, for example, you might have a database, and inside that database you have store data for dates, like this type of dating, not even date, but let's say time. And the column might have the time stored as a string, but then you want to convert that time, that string in time, in real time, in the real like data type time. That's when you can also do that using other programming languages as well as JavaScript as well. Okay, and a whole bunch of stuff that you can do it, but we're not gonna talk about that because that is a little bit more complicated things to do. All right, so let's keep going. By the way, let me just move this. Let me just clear this. And you can also find the length of the string by using that length. Here, by the way, as you guys can see, I'm just didn't have to declare a variable. I just went directly to my quotes, and just because this example say like this, but it is much better if you just create a variable and say, I don't know, let's say table. Of course, doesn't make any sense, but I just want to say my table. And of course, you can say table dot, and look at this. Once you type the dot, you will get like a whole list of things that you can do. Do you see that? So you can even get the last index of, you can get a match, you can do a whole bunch of stuff with this thing, right? And of course, we're gonna talk about to well, not yeah, right here, to lowercase and to uppercase, and of course to string as well, and to uppercase right here and trim. But for today, let's only select the first one, which is the length right here, and then it will tell you that it has 7. So let's count that. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 characters. Okay, remember these all characters, nothing to do with words or sentence or anything. String are characters basically. So Now we can get that. So why this is very useful, by the way, because if you have like kind of, like kind of loop, let's say, and you want, by the way, I think I'm writing the loop in using PHP. Yeah, basically I'm gonna use PHP for this really quick because it's a for loop anyway. And then we got I less than, you know, table. And of course, because table is like this, and we want to say like I plus plus, right? And here I just have a loop, you know, and this loop is taking this thing right here, because remember, when we have a loop, we want to run the loop up to one point, right? So for example, we want to say, hey, run this for loop, starting from this number, and then while this is true, and then just increase the number by one. So the thing is that if here we type this, okay, which is the lang, and because we got this, let me just delete this. We don't need that for now. So, and just because we have this, and by the way, this is not gonna work because, oh, it did work? I thought it was PHP. Anyway, all right, let me try something really quick. Let me see something. Uh, so that log, just gonna say, hey, there you go. Oh, okay. So basically, this is a full loop in JavaScript. Oh, I always get confused because I was writing PHP right now, so definitely gonna get confused with this. But yeah, there you go. So it definitely did wrong, but so yeah, this is the thing. Like this is very useful when you using the lang inside of for loop or a while loop, that you can do something and you don't need to know a specific the number right here. Let me give you another example. If you trying to display a whole bunch of information, and by the way, when you try to run a loop, a for loop, for to get the list number, you know what? Let's not talk about that. That's gonna be. We do definitely gonna talk about that, but I believe that that's gonna be on lesson probably. This is 16, probably on 19. The thing is, like when you have a list, okay. So basically, you have a list. So this is the list, and inside the list you have a whole bunch of items. So you got, hey, you got I don't know, you got hello, okay, and you have a hi, let's say. So you have three items inside this list, okay. So if you trying to get the length of this list, it will return three, right? So you can run a for loop to get each item from this list. However, if you trying to get an item from this list inside a for loop, which is like, for example, the item number 5, number 6, number 7, and it doesn't exist, then you're gonna get an error. So this is why you need to use this and be like, okay, just run up to this size of the array. If the array is 3, just do it up to 3, because then you will not have to have any, you're not gonna fix any issue, because it will definitely count the amounts of item inside the array, and it will run up to this number right here, right? But we're gonna talk about that in the next few lessons, not today, not next week, and not sure when, but definitely when we're talking about arrays, we definitely gonna talk about this part right here. Right, so let's keep going. So getting a single character from a string, and that is also easy. So we have a bar, then we have my name, and let's say that we had Nick, And of course, we only use this brackets, square bracket, and then we use like an index number, and then we specify the letter that we want, just a single character that we want. In this case, we want 0, and or you can have 1, right? And then you get the I. However, just if you do like this, so right now we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna add 4, right? And then it will say undefined. So that's the same thing that could happen here. If you're trying to get something that doesn't exist, you're gonna get something back, okay? And it will not work because it doesn't exist. So right now we have this index right here. We're trying to get this. Let me just get up to 3. Okay, all right. So the first thing that you probably might be asking is why I'm starting at 0. And of course, that's also have a logic. And before, let me just talk about these first, and then we go into this line, okay? But when you have a string or anything, or like a list or something, everything is start at 0, okay? So here we are starting at 0 up to, up to the last number. And that's why you will also see when we run a for loop, and inside the for loop we are going to we're going to see that when you start at 0, and then when you stop, when the number is greater or equal to this number, something like this, greater, less or greater than the number, and then you will definitely learn something really cool here. But that's when we're talking about array. For now, just know that everything starts at 0, and you're trying to get the index 0, so you're trying to get this end right here. And if you're trying to get the index 3, definitely you get the k instead of 4. Remember, you have 4, but if I come here and say the length, I do get 4. You see that? So if you get 4 here, but it says that the last character is 3, is because it's starting at 0. So we also can cutting up string. Let me just clear this, and of course we can have something like this, long string, and I will just go ahead and copy this really quick, and I'm just gonna say my long string, and just going to press enter. So we can use for that my long string, and of course, again, if you click, not click, but if you press the dot, then you will see here a whole bunch of stuff. But in this case, I'm just gonna type the letter S, slide, and then you're gonna get this. So once you use the slide, you can tell them where to start. You see this right here? It say a start and end. So whatever you're trying to cut off is asking you where do you want to start and when do you want to end. So here I want to start at 3 and end at 14. Okay. And of course, it will give me back. And by the way, because let me just reassign this and just remove mine. Okay, and then just, there you go, long string. That's better. So now we have this. And again, you're cutting up, but this is a little bit more complicated. Like, why would you need something like this? And let me show you why. And by the way, as I mentioned before, this is where you start, this is where you end. Okay, so let's do this exercise right here. So what we have, before we do that, let's talk about the uppercase and lowercase, and then we do this here. Okay, All right, so the uppercase, same thing. We can take the same variable here, and I would like to just say long string, and then just that, and then just type 2 uppercase. Okay, then I will close parenthesis and look at this. Everything become uppercase. Same thing with lowercase. 2 lowercase, and everything is lowercase. Now, the problem is if you're trying to take only one and make in this the whole thing character in this like variable right here. Well, this variable right here, which is the same thing, but I just want to show you if you want just to take one capital M, let's say, and instead of doing this, you want to, let's see, yeah, basically you want to have only one cap, like let's say the M in this case, and everything else lowercase. This is when you can use something like a slice right here. So let me show you really quick. So if we want something, everything is lowercase already, we need to start creating new variables. For example, here I'm gonna create another small one. I mean, everything is lowercase, so let me just start from here. So I'm gonna create another variable that is called my, not my, but first character, right? And I will say that this is equal to, what did I do? This is equal to the first character of my sentence. So in this case, I have long string, and how do I get the first character of this string? Yep, using 0. So now I have it here as a first character, okay? So now I have this and I have this. So I can also say that I can make this first character just a, capital. For example, I can create a new one and say, hey, what about if I say first car up? Yep, we can put uppercase. All right, so we got this, and this one will be equal to my first character dot to uppercase. So I took this, well, let me start from the beginning. I make this everything lowercase. I took only the first one and put it inside a new variable. Then I took that variable and I put it inside a new one saying to uppercase. And now I am gonna take the rest of the string, which is on the which is on my still, by the way, the rest of the rest of the string is still the whole thing complete. Like for example, if I come here and I put if I call my long string, if I call my long string, oh, I remember, guys, don't create this. I created again. So my long string, okay, if I call this, right now it have all this thing. Wait a minute. Yeah, but because it's this, hold on. Let me see. What is my new? Oh, there you go. Long string dot lowercase. Yeah, I'm calling the first one. Where did I put the? Well, you know what? I didn't. All right, so let me just put this one, everything lowercase, into a new variable. Okay, I just want to call my string just lower, and add this long string, everything to lowercase. So now I have this lowercase. If I run this, my string, everything is lowercase. Okay, and remember that here I have my first character uppercase, but here I have everything lowercase. So the first thing that I want to do is probably remove this part right here, which is my string lowercase dash lie, just one, because I want to take the first one. Okay, so there you go. And now since I have this, everything is lowercase, and I have the first cap, which is this one right here, I just can put them together. So if I come here and I say plus, and then I add this one right here, and there you go. My string, why did you know what, I didn't add this to, let me just add this inside a variable. So bar cut string is equal to this, and so now I will add my first character. By the way, I'm gonna do that again, just a clean version though. My first character, what is it? What is my first character? Right here, which is that, plus my cut. There you go, my cut string. And there you go. So now I cap this one right here, and everything else is lowercase. So let me just do it really quick. So if I have I'm just gonna add like ABC, okay? So my first variable is A, and this is my A, and my second variable will be B, and because B, I just want to say, I want to make sure that I want to cap this. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to take the first one and say, hey, take the first one, take the first one, which is 0, and make this to uppercase. And instead of B, let me just call like my uppercase. Okay, so there you go. And if I call this, I should get only T. So there you go. I get a T here. So because I get a T, now I have this T, and what I need is, I need to make sure just to get this and not the whole thing. So how do I do that? I just create another variable, and that variable, rest of string, which is gonna be equal to 8, and then I'm gonna cut the first one. So now if I call this variable, I should get everything from here to here without the T. There you go. Okay, and now the only thing that I need to do is I need to add, and by the way, I didn't create any space, so, well, I don't need any space because this is the this. Yeah, it's together anyway. So I can just take my uppercase plus the rest of the string, and there you go. So this is my A, and this is my A. Okay, so that was the same thing that we did early. The thing is, like, in order for you to take at least one character from here and do something with it, you need to create a new variable. You need to add the value to new variables. You should not like do things within the same one just in case you need it later. That's the first thing. And second, because you're just gonna get harder. Like it's hard, because probably you might have to do loops and do a whole bunch of stuff. So the best way to do this is just by taking it and breaking down as much as you can. In this example, they have a whole bunch of capital um, letters, like for example, this, like this. So the first thing that they are doing is like they put it like to lowercase, and of course they are not doing anything. They just use it, and then they just create a new variable for that. Okay, and after that they can let me just add this really quick here. They just can keep wait, hold on. Oh, there you go. They just can keep like creating new variables for each one. Okay, and then at the end, the only thing that they ended up with is the first character upper and the rest of the string. Here they just got the first one, and of course here they got the first letter and they put her on the, I mean not the first letter, again the first character, and they just add her inside this variable. Okay, for the next lesson we're going to talk about the boolean, which is the easy one, and a few more things. Okay, I will see you in the next lesson.